SFM and HD1 New York. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
More people get their news from 1010 Wins than from any other radio station in the nation. Madison Pett is our writer. Walter Geis work at the editor's desk. I'm Scott Stanford.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good morning, 68 degrees. It is 7 o'clock on this Monday, August 18th. I'm Susan Richard. Here's what's happening.
Need your help.
Yeah, that from Mayor Adams as the search is on for at least 4 gunmen in yesterday's gang-related deadly mass shooting at a club in Crown Heights. Our Glenn Schuck will have the latest. For the second time in just 2 days, a suspect has been fatally shot during a confrontation with an off-duty New York City police officer. City Bike now promising to enforce their minimum age rule. The president of Ukraine bringing enforcements with him to Washington for today's big meeting at the White House. Conan O'Brien says late-night television as we know it
is going to disappear. But those voices are not going anywhere.
Yeah, more on his prediction coming up. In sports, Yankees over the Cardinals, the Mets beat Seattle. AccuWeather, a shower still maybe this morning. Otherwise, some sun and cooler this afternoon, the high 75. Wins News Time 7:01. Let's check your schlep. Here's Karen Stewart.
And what a schlep it is over on the west side. I mean, we're talking schlep here. Southbound Henry Hudson Parkway has this accident down at 86th Street. Now the delays are bumper to bumper all the way up to the mid-130s, for crying out loud. Now this accident at 86th Street is being worked on. You can try Riverside Drive or Broadway like a whole bunch of other people have in the West Side Highway's place. Henry Hudson Parkway, I should say. If you're traveling out into the Hudsons, here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. We are 15 in at the George, 10 at the Lincoln, 25 from the Pulaski Skyway to the inbound Holland, and 15 from the Newark Bay Extension. Now in New Jersey, we've got eastbound 80 at exit 47 for 280 in Parsippany, with a crash still getting worked on in the center lane. Route 46 is the alternate there. Long Islanders, as we check what we see on Long Island's Big 3, some minor westbound LIE delays to 39. No issue on Northern State. Southern State happens to be in excellent condition too, and we're sponsored by Anne Frank the Exhibition. Step into history at Anne Frank the Exhibition in New York City. Explore original artifacts, diary excerpts, and immersive displays that bring Anne's powerful story to life. Discover lessons of resilience, hope, and humanity that still inspire today. Plan your visit now at AnneFrankExhibit.org. Karen Stewart, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
With concern about retaliation, the NYPD is hunting for the gunman in yesterday's gang-related mass shooting in Crown Heights.
Police believe 4 shooters involved here in the surveillance video showing dozens frantically running from the club, some crawling out after being wounded. Fear of gang retribution, a real concern according to the police commissioner and Eric Adams. He hopes the public steps up and helps.
We lost 3 New Yorkers and 9 more are in the hospital after a horrific act of gun violence at a nightclub in Crown Heights.
Police remain at the Taste of the City Lounge for their investigation as the victims have been identified as 19-year-old Marvin San Louis, 27-year-old Amadou Diallo, 35-year-old Jamel Childs. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins, 92.3 FM in Brooklyn.
An off-duty New York City cop fatally shot a man last night during a confrontation in Washington Heights. Deputy NYPD Chief Eric Pagan tells us what happened.
An off-duty officer was standing outside of a residential building in the vicinity of West 173rd Street and Amsterdam Avenue when he was approached by 2 males on 2 separate mopeds. One male got off the moped and asked the officer, the off-duty officer, if he knew an individual's name, and then proceeded to display a firearm.
That's when police say the off-duty cop drew his service weapon and fired multiple shots at the 30-year-old who died at the hospital. No ID yet on the deceased suspect, whose gun has been recovered. The cop was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. This is actually the second incident of its kind in just 2 days. On Friday night, a man was fatally shot on Staten Island. That was after he refused an order to drop his weapon and instead pointed it at 2 off-duty cops. An MTA cop had to be hospitalized over the weekend. That's because he accidentally shot himself while cleaning his gun. It happened yesterday at Grand Central Terminal. The cop struck in the leg. The injury not life-threatening. Nobody else was hurt. Internal Affairs is investigating. The latest policy debate in the New York City mayor's race, that would be whether sex work should be legal. Mayor Adams slamming Democratic candidate Zohran Mamdani's longstanding opinion that it should be decriminalized.
Number one, as a man who said he's of faith, I don't quite understand what religion supports prostitution.
Mamdani, who is Muslim, has not addressed the issue while on the campaign trail. Those who support legalizing it say it would help protect sex workers from violence. Those against it argue that studies have shown it causes a spike in human trafficking. Looks like the next leg of the 2nd Avenue subway is actually going to happen. Today's the day the MTA board is expected to approve a nearly $2 billion contract for Connect Plus partners to do the construction that will send the line farther north. Danny Pearlstein of the Riders Alliance tells 1010 Wins this has been a long time coming.
The system will extend to East Harlem and will fully connect with Lexington Avenue, which will be a turning point in a transit system that mostly was built before World War II and will demonstrate New York's ability to really lean into the transit system that is our superpower, that gives us the advantages that our city has.
Phase 2 of this project scheduled for completion in September of 2032. You're supposed to be at least 16 years old to ride a city bike, and now Lyft has agreed to enforce that. The company's CEO sent a letter to First Deputy Mayor Randy Mastro saying they are adding a new age verification system that should be ready in 3 months. The letter was in response to one from Mastro that pointed out the company's existing terms of service and the dangers of non-compliance. It was just last month that City Bike agreed to reduce the speed limit on their e-bikes from 18 to 15 miles an hour. President Trump taking to social media to talk about what he calls a big day at the White House, and it certainly will be, as the president of Ukraine visits the Oval. But he is bringing backup, a lot of it. A European delegation that includes the leaders of France, Germany, Britain, Italy, and Finland, as well as the heads of the European Commission and NATO.
His visit coming just days after that summit between Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
In order for us to get a peace agreement, Ukraine has to be a part of it. They have to be included. They have to be involved. That's why the president called them on the phone immediately after we got on the airplane. Within an hour, he talked to them for long periods of time.
Ahead of that meeting, President Trump had vowed to push Putin for an immediate ceasefire and for a trilateral meeting with Zelensky, warning of severe economic consequences if the Russian leader did not cooperate. The Trump administration calling for a so-called peace agreement, and it says it's not planning any sanctions as of now.
That's correspondent Alex Perche. On social media, the president appeared to put the onus on Ukraine, writing that President Zelensky can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. He also reiterated his longstanding position that Ukraine should not be allowed to join NATO. Turns out government documents detailing the Alaska summit between Presidents Trump and Putin were left sitting on a printer at a hotel in Alaska. NPR says some of the info was sensitive, including precise meeting locations and schedules, as well as seating charts, but that it also included a lunch menu and a pronouncer for Putin's name. They say the documents were from the State Department and that somehow some guests at the hotel in Anchorage got a hold of them and shared them with the news outlet. When asked about it, Deputy White House Press Secretary Anna Kelly told News Nation, quote, "It's hilarious that NPR is publishing a multi-page lunch menu and calling it a security breach." Well, you probably don't need a study to tell you this, but 4 years after the pandemic, a new Bankrate survey finds the amount of money we're earning has not fully caught up with what stuff is now costing.
There's still a gap.
Bankrate analyst Sarah Foster.
Their pay just doesn't go as far as it used to.
The Bankrate analysis finds the gap comes down to prices ahead of wage gains by 1.2 points since early 2021.
The pace at which it's been closing has slowed a lot.
And Sarah tells us the data lead to advice you might not like if you're looking for a raise. Stay put.
Because this is just such a low hire, no fire job market. It's frozen.
Correspondent Michael Toscano. Bankrate predicts the gap between wages and inflation will close, but not until the third quarter of 2026. What about